for joining us for the PHNX Suns postgame show. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe wherever you get your podcast, and leave us a 5-star review. I'm Lindsay Smith, here with Saul Bookman, Gerald Bourget, and Espo, and the Phoenix Suns defeat the Oklahoma City Thunder 128-118, and that is officially 5 in a row, gentlemen.
Nothing like Sunday sacks, baby. Let's get it going.
No way, you just dropped it.
I mean, I was going to say afternoon sacks, but hey, it all works the same.
Sunday afternoon sacks sounds pretty
Let's
nice.
Gerald, did you not know they were going to do something like that?
Apparently
You
Sundays
shoulda
are for
known.
sacks.
I mean,
You should have known.
there we go.
Sweet, sweet Saxon, baby. Let's go.
How
5
y'all
in a
feeling?
row.
How y'all feeling after that one?
Good. Listen, like we talked about how they fell apart against OKC a couple weeks back. Third quarter struggles and throwing the ball away and all this other stuff. And even though it wasn't the prettiest in the third quarter, when they made the runs, when OKC made the runs, the Suns held it together, bounced back, extended the lead, and yeah, it fluctuated a little bit, but it didn't feel like we were in trouble tonight. That's because of KD being in the fold as well, but also, listen, Devin Booker's growing. I mean, shit, he's just a tremendous all-around player, and I feel like at some point we're going to stop talking about not only how dominant he is on the offensive end as a scorer and his growth on the defensive end, but being able to put it all together and really flourish as an all-around player. You can't even just say that he's just good scoring and passing. Like, he does it all. Mm-hmm. He legitimately does it all. And I know he's had some good games this year where he's come close to triple doubles, and he's had, at least 5 in the rebound and assist column while dropping 30. But it feels like now that KD's in the fold, that's going to elevate even more. And it's just, man, it's fun to watch him play basketball, period.
Yeah.
Look, I'm just going to say it. I think this Kevin Durant guy might be good.
He might be all right.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you look at his numbers and they're very well balanced. Obviously, the scoring jumps out at you, but the blocks that he had in transition, that big one on SGA, that was huge down the stretch. Some of the passes he was making in the pocket to DA, he's come in and immediately trusted not just his teammates, but his big men in particular, with a lot of those passes on some of the pick and rolls, and almost to point of a fault sometimes with Busy, some of the feeds he's given him. But that's what you love to see, because that's what it takes to make this work. And that's why, as we've been saying, he's one of the most adaptable superstars the NBA has ever seen.
If that block happens in the playoffs, everybody's talking about it for at least a day or two. Mm-hmm. It was that unbelievable, and it helped close the door completely on OKC there. That was unbelievable by Kevin Durant. And we still haven't seen full Kevin Durant yet. We've seen flashes of that guy, but I mean, even tweaked his ankle a little bit tonight and still went out there and did pretty things. I still, there's something about his back to the basket turnaround and jumper that I get tingly. It reminds me of the 90s game that we grew up watching,
Yeah. I mean, listen, you could start to see how they're starting to gel. And when you're talking about gel, I think there's a misconception that, like, when you talk about gel, that means all 5 players are playing at a high level. That's not necessarily gelling. Mm-hmm. Gelling means all 5 players knowing their role, and more importantly, knowing where to go with the ball in key moments. Mm-hmm. KD was getting double teamed basically on the touch every single time. He knew exactly where to go with the ball, and in turn, everybody else's rotations with the ball freed up KD and some mismatches when OKC would switch. That's what we're talking about chemistry, finding each other, knowing where everybody's going to be. It's beautiful. And listen, we saw on multiple occasions, like just the team basketball aspect of this. There was a 3-on-2 fast break that I just absolutely loved, because it went from one side to the middle, back to the left, and Booker got a dunk, and it started with KD. It was fantastic. I loved it.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at the bench production, to your point about gelling doesn't mean everybody's playing fantastic. Like, there are going to be games in the playoffs, too, where certain guys struggle, and we saw it a little bit tonight. Like, Terrence Ross was 0 for 2 from 3. Landry Shamet, he was 1 for 4 until he hit that final 3 that was, like, basically garbage time to seal the deal. TJ Warren, he took a couple of bad threes near the end of that third quarter. Like, they were
good threes. They were just bad shots.
One of them was good. One of them, I think he shot with, like, 10 seconds left. Yeah, and it was like,
but he was wide open.
He was, but the point is, like, guys are going to miss shots. Guys are going to struggle from time to time. But when you are able to still get through some of those struggles, still, weather the storms and get through an opponent's run, that's the thing that matters most. And they it was like that line from Avengers when he was like, we have a Hulk, like we have a Kevin Durant who can come out there and just hit corner threes, because the way that their defensive rotations are, they're going to have to give those up sometimes. Yeah. And it's just unfair, because immediately after he hits those 2 corner threes, they run the middle pick and roll with Chris Paul and DA gets an easy one. And it's just little things like that are going to be really hard to stop.
Yeah, well, you take it back to a year ago this time, right? And people started double teaming Devin Booker and CP3 when they brought the ball up, right? Getting physical. OKC tried that tonight, and not to the greatest effect, because now at one point in the fourth, you had Devin Booker and Kevin Durant at the top, Chris Paul in the wing, and you're going, okay, there's 3 elite ball handlers out here. Yeah. You can't double any of these guys effectively or force them the way that, that in particular the Pels tried to do with the Suns last year, because now you've got a whole group of guys that can do this. That's something that I think is very underrated. And the fact that you can put Chris Paul in the corner now and not have to worry about him being the primary guy at the top of the key, trying to dribble the air of the ball, facilitating everything, should go a long way.
Yeah. And that's something that stood out too tonight. And it's what I'll be writing about for tomorrow, is Chris Paul being able to attack some of those openings a little bit more, whether he's off the ball or whether he's on the ball and has a little bit more space to operate with KD in the corner. Those corner threes that KD had, and then him being able to get to his midi, hit those threes when they're wide open, like those are the things that are going to make all the difference come playoff time. And I thought tonight was one of his more complete performances in that regard.
Chris in the chat said that totally felt like a finals type of game to me. SGA equals Giannis with the parade to the free throw line. Best win of the season, in my opinion. Which one of you were talking about pregame? You said something about this potentially being one of the better games we've seen.
When it comes to with Kevin Durant,
right.
Yeah, because originally we had thought that Mavs game was going to be the big one, a big deal. KD wins it towards the end. Well, the Mavs haven't really been anything. Saul did bring up the Minnesota game, and I'll give him that. That was an impressive win too. But I think tonight, with as much as OKC had on the line, and as important as it is to the Suns to keep that 4th seed, I think this was the best win we've seen since KD's come in.
I see where you're going with that. After thinking about it some more, I actually do. I know the Mavericks have fallen off, but because of the stigma of the Mavs and Luka and Kyrie and the baggage and all that stuff, and that game was not going our way from beginning to finish. It was a struggle. And then the fourth quarter, they had some big buckets. Other guys stepped up. Stepped up, hit those couple threes, and then you gave it to KD to finish it off. I felt like from a adversity perspective and overcoming that, I felt like that was the best win with KD. But these last 2 have been very, very solid. And you're right, because OKC had a lot on the line, they're playing as hard as they can to try and get that one of those spots in the playoffs. It can be tough when you're playing against a team like that, and you could hear their crowd was really, really into it. But the Suns are obviously one of the best teams in the country.
Yeah, and to your point early on when we started this show, you talked about weathering the storm, and that's something that I think we're going to have to find a way to get a little bit used to, unfortunately, because it seems to be a reoccurring theme with the Suns coming out of halftime, not really having as much energy. Hopefully that changes come playoffs, but if it doesn't, at least we know that they're capable, more than capable, of turning it back on.
But this is the way playoffs go too. I mean, teams aren't going to roll over and die in the playoffs. Right. Even if you go up double digits in a first half, they're going to find a way to fight back. What I've liked is this team has found a way to be clutch again, right? This fourth quarter, those final 5 minutes, they did everything. The little things on both the defensive and offensive end, the smart plays like Chris Paul, when they were trying to run down time in the final 2 minutes, or letting the ball roll and kill time, but then also he drives down the lane and he could have attempted a real tough layup, but he was smart enough to bring it back out and kill more of the time. Like, they're doing the little things that make me feel comfortable with this team in the clutch minutes, like we did last year and the year before in those final 5. But now you add in Kevin freaking Durant on top of what you had, and you feel really confident about all that.
Yeah, they won the fourth quarter by 1 point, and to their credit, when the third quarter, I think the Thunder got it down to like 5 or 6, they responded and only lost that quarter by 5 points. So a much better response compared to some of the third quarters that we've seen. And I think that is part of the adjustment, to your point, with a new guy like Kevin Durant, is learning, okay, we're good at building these leads. Now, how do we sustain them with the rotations that are out on the floor? So I think that's an adjustment process for sure. But tonight was definitely a step in the right direction, even if they did for a couple minutes there look like they were going to fall back into that same pattern.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we talked a lot about Kevin Durant, so I think it's time that we just go ahead and give him his flowers.
Let's do it.
Oh, let me
Kevin
hear
Durant.
it. Let me hear it.
Father.
Let me hear it. Let me hear it.
Hey, it's time to name the Flower Father. Kevin Durant made an offer that they couldn't refuse, and he took care of the OKC Thunder. It was a beautiful thing. Forget about it.
Lindsay, you see what you have done here? You went from this, let's hand out flowers, to all of a sudden this became like some mafia type villainy type deal.
Father. We are villains, are we not?
He's the Slim Reaper.
Oh my God.
Well, Kevin Durant finished with 35 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds, and he also had 2 blocked shots tonight. He's 3 of 7 from deep, which I'm glad he finally hit those threes because they helped me out quite a bit when it comes to my bets. But for all of the reasons we talked about, Kevin Durant is our flower father of the evening, and he is wearing the beautiful flower crown.
Hey, Kevin Durant, leave the gun, take the cannolis.
Are you just going to pull out every Italian stereotype right now?
Yes. He's
Where
just
was
gonna,
he?
he's just gonna
Shit,
leave
I wasn't.
all the
I
way.
It's me, Mario.
Oh my God.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Gerald wasn't here for the
prepared.
first
I
time.
wasn't. No.
So what do you think, Gerald? Since this was the first time you got to experience it live, how do you feel? Yes or no?
Offended? I don't know.
We did warn you.
No, you did warn me. He's lucky he's Italian. That's all I'm gonna say.
I know. I mean, I feel like I could really offend my own people here.
Coach said, this is why we are hated. I hate me now.
I mean, Eli said Esco's performances are art, so it's subjective. It's subjective. That's all, you know.
Hey,
And
thank you.
And apparently the music was extremely loud because everybody in chat's like, damn, that was loud.
Whoops. We'll work on that part for sure. Lord have mercy.
Hello says, can Espo dub over the Mario movie?
Oh God.
Hey, a Princess Peach.
Somebody said, let Gert do the Italian voice.
Oh,
Gerald, you want
no.
to do it next time?
I'll try next time. But
Yes. All right. Gerald's going to be the
Sounds
flower
like a
father
little-
next time.
Add roulette.
Oh, God.
Okay,
It's an
so
Italian fight.
those 3 threes from KD, I'm really glad that they finally started to fall because it took a hot minute for a 3 to fall for KD tonight. And it was the last leg of my bet over on BetMGM that I needed to hit, which let me win my bet of the evening. I know it was only a plus 110 or whatever, but still a win is a win. Gentlemen, did you guys hit your bets tonight?
No, because Josh Okogie decided to just shit on all my dreams tonight. So,
Oh.
yeah, he's the only thing that didn't hit on that parlay. Thanks, Josh. All you needed was 14 PRA. Thought that was pretty low because you always rebound. You didn't really rebound too much tonight, and you hurt my soul. Thank you.
I hit mine if the game had ended in the third quarter.
Yes.
Not great,
A
Bob.
little too low there. So
Yeah.
what does the leaderboard look like now, Emma?
Lindsay, she's looking so cute.
No, she's not.
So
Yes,
Saul
it
has $256.63. Ooh, I finally hit 300. All right. 301.54. Espo's back down in the ones. 194.50.
Again, we have 4 more games left.
Yes.
4 more games left.
Four
Let me-
more games left. In the last game, we officially decided on Friday that we would do is it Jeopardy
Yeah,
rules? Is that what it was?
You can bet as much as you want on the
As much
final
as
one.
you have in your bank account.
Yes.
So
Yes.
up to 301 for me, 190 something for Espo,
We already
260 something for
we,
Saul.
listen, with all due respect, whoever's in second and third, we already know they're going all in. Like that's just what's gonna happen.
Let me just say this: with my chances, I think I can forget about it. I got no shot here. All right.
It'll be fun though.
As long as you don't fall to less than half of what Lindsay has, you'll be okay.
Just don't get lapped, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Yeah,
Basically.
that makes sense.
I don't know, but if you guys haven't gotten in on the action over at BetMGM, you absolutely should. Just make sure you use bonus code PHNX and you will get up to $200 in bonus bets on your first wager, again, with BetMGM. So here's how it works. Download the BetMGM app, sign up using bonus code PHNX, place a pregame moneyline wager in the amount of at least $10 on any market at standard odds price, and you will receive $200 in bonus bets instantly, regardless of the outcome of your wager. Just make sure, again, you use that bonus code PHNX when you sign up. And now listen to Shane talk about the disclaimer.
Disclaimer, 21 plus to wager. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. U.S. promotional offers not available in Washington, D.C., Mississippi, Nevada, New York, and Ontario. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Colorado, D.C., Illinois, Indiana, Louisiana, Maryland, Mississippi, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, Wyoming. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369, New York. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP, Arizona. 1-800-522-4700, Kansas, Nevada. 1-800-327-5050, Massachusetts. 1-800-BETS-OFF, Iowa. 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help, Michigan.
Okay, we got a super chat from Devin. So Devin sent us a super chat in the pregame show and said that I place bets, sports bets like his grandma plays bingo.
Yes.
And then they sent another one says, Lindsay, my grandma was a badass and so are you. You're my favorite to win this thing.
Listen, Devin,
Thank you, Devin.
don't you cower
Devin, we
down
appreciate
to
you for
Lindsay
being here.
and back down from what you said in the pregame. You were trying to sabotage Lindsay. You stand by that.
Was it trying to sabotage, or was Devin just letting us know that his grandma plays bingo the right way and wins all the time?
Let's just
right
be
way.
You still gamble like an old lady. Let's not.
Yeah.
That's the
Ethical
whole
bingo.
point.
Ethical bingo.
Ethical bingo.
Yeah.
Ethical bingo, ethical basketball, ethical
When
betting.
is-
That's what we're doing around these
When
parts.
has ever being compared to your grandparents outside of maybe your character been a good thing?
I mean, I think it's dependent on the
You
grandparent.
drive like your grandma. You play basketball like your grandpa. Like none of that is good.
What about you bake cookies like your grandma?
Stop,
Oh,
Gerald.
yeah, that's right.
Stop, Gerald.
That's right.
What if she was a shitty cook? Okay.
Gerald gotcha.
I will allow it.
Gerald gotcha.
Oh, it's hot.
Oh, my goodness. Also, guys, guess what? We have really exciting news.
What's that?
We have a new ad partner.
We
Who's
do.
that?
Yeah, Espo, you're going to tell us all
I am
about
going
it?
to tell you all about them. It's
forgot.
Fubo TV, and
Oh,
these
yeah.
people have helped me out big time because I was paying $20 a month to a group of people that didn't deserve my $20. Is what I'm going to say. You can figure out who I'm talking about. They carry the games, all right. And now Fubo TV has Bally Sports Arizona on their streaming service. And I don't have to pay $20 a month directly to them. I can pay it to Fubo and get over 140 channels of movies, sports, anything and everything. I get cooking channels, things I wouldn't watch if you paid me to, all sorts of things. And that's what I love. I love the variety because there's nothing like flipping through, finding something to watch, and knowing that you spent your money on a company that you believe in. Fubo TV is that for me when it comes to the great television that they offer. Make sure to check the link in our description here to sign up. You won't regret it because you can get Bally Sports Arizona, you can get ESPN, you can get all the big sports channels. You're not going to miss a game ever again. And that's important with the playoffs coming up. You're going to be wanting to watch them. So click that link in the description. Go to FuboTV.com/PHNX. That's FuboTV.com/PHNX since I butchered it the first time I said it. And you can watch the Suns, Diamondbacks, Coyotes, and any and all of your sports with Fubo TV. Use that link in the description. You're going to get 15% off your first month. Check them out. I highly recommend it. You can scan that QR code on your screen as well.
I'm really excited about this because now I can watch way more things that I could not watch without utilizing a certain device on your computer beforehand. And now I'm really excited that I don't
So
have
you
to
don't have to
utilize that
steal
thing.
You don't have to steal anymore.
I didn't say that.
Fubo TV is like having a VPN that you legally can use, is what you say.
Also, I'm glad that you said FUBU before me, because I was just about to say I can't wait to call them FUBU. Like, it's going to happen.
Look,
I
loved
know
those jeans in the 90s more than anything, so that's why I say it.
Did you really wear FUBU jeans?
It's going to happen.
Oh, I didn't wear
Yeah, I didn't think so.
Yeah.
I was like,
FUBU jeans and Greg Esposito. They were quite the pair in high school.
I was like, there's no fucking way Esco wore FUBU at Seton Catholic. There's no way.
No,
There's
I wore a
just no
uniform every day.
Oh, you wore a uniform?
Yes, greatest thing ever. You don't have to think about what the fuck you're going to wear because it's already in your closet chosen for you every day.
I hated wearing uniforms.
I loved it.
Absolutely hated it.
Loved
All right, we got a couple of super chats to get to here. First and foremost, Alec wants to know, is anyone else nervous about Golden State in the first round?
I'm nervous about everybody. I don't care. After last year, I'm not overlooking anybody. We didn't think we were going to get beat by the Mavs. We up 2-0. We were dominating. We had Luka looking like a pigeon, and then they take 4 out of 5 and mollywop us in Game 7. I'm not overlooking anybody. Everybody is dangerous. You got to go into it this year thinking anybody can beat you, because we know from this team, if they go in lighthearted against a team, they will get beat. I don't care if they have Kevin Durant or not. They will get beat. You got to come with it every single game. This is the most wide open Western Conference we've ever seen in our lives. You got to come with it.
Look, I agree with that assessment. I'm not overlooking anybody. I'm concerned about everybody at this point, but I'm extra concerned when it comes to the Warriors. I know everybody's like, well, look, the punch and everything. I don't care. They're still the core of that team that won last year. That basically has been a dynasty over the last 10. I'm not taking them lightly. In a split second, that team can catch fire, and all of a sudden, doesn't matter if you have KD or Book, you're in trouble. And that worries me. I very much want the Clippers over the Warriors, because, as I said in the pregame, you know for a fact they're not going to have Paul George in round 1. They're saying they'll be lucky to get him if they get into round 2. Mm-hmm. So you're getting a team that doesn't have their full arsenal of guys, doesn't have their full defensive potential out there, and is wounded offensively from that. Now, I would like that more than I'd like the Warriors, but as Saul said, nobody's easy. This is going to be difficult every single round this playoff run.
Yeah, I mean, the Warriors obviously have that championship experience. They have that ability possibly to just flick the switch once the playoffs roll around, and they could be dangerous. I would, out of the teams that are in that range, probably think it would be least beneficial for the Suns to face them in the first round. But at the same time, their road record is what it is. They are just a weird, very different team on the road. And maybe that changes in the playoffs, but like right now they're struggling with a Nuggets squad that's not even playing Nikola Jokic tonight. So they're just different on the road. And as long as the Suns stay in that 4 spot, the way that they've played them this season, I think they're 3-1 against the Warriors this season. And the one game that they lost, like Clay went the hell off in that first quarter, and they still found a way to make it close down the stretch. And that was without Kevin Durant. So I do feel confident in that matchup. It's probably the least favorite of the bunch, but I mean, it is what it is. You're going to have to beat good teams in the West. It's wide open this year. Every team poses a lot of different challenges, and they also have a lot of glaring weaknesses this year. So if they have to face them in the first round, take care of who's in front of you in advance.
I think we always forget this, right? Chris Paul, I think, will have every opportunity to really make sure that this team is focused going into the playoffs, because legit, it could be his last run and his last opportunity to try and get a ring. We don't know what's going to happen next year. We don't know how contracts are going to play out. We don't know who's going to get moved here and there. Like, Chris Paul, this is it. This is your best opportunity, besides the fact that you had one 2 years ago in the finals and you were this close. This is it. I'm almost certain that he's going to come ready to play. Booker knows that this is one of his better opportunities, and possibly his best one, even since 2021. So I would be shocked if this team didn't show up for the playoffs. I doubt they won't. They're gonna be ready. But again, you can't overlook anybody. Even if we got the Clippers as a 5 seed, you still can't just take it for granted that you're just going to go right through them. Everybody's dangerous. And I'm excited. I think this is going to be the funnest playoffs we've we've ever seen.
I think
hope so.
people need to get in their cardio over the next 2 weeks and strengthen that heart because I think we're going to be in for long series, tough series, and maybe some buzzer beater kind of games that are gonna get us excited. So
Yeah.
All right. Psycho Blue. Hey, Psycho Blue. Haven't seen you in a minute. Thank you for your super chat. They said, if we beat the Warriors in round 1, I need volunteers to raid my main NBA Discord full of rude Warrior fans and Luka stans. Let's make them all solar.
Okay.
I think that's fair.
we got your back.
We could do that.
Challenge
I think that would be
accepted.
kind of fun. Do like a raid, but Discord-wise instead of YouTube-wise, right?
Yeah.
I like that idea. What are you guys laughing at in the chat?
Your tiny baby feet.
I got tiny baby feet. I suppose Burner says, bruh, Lindsay has tiny baby feet, LOL.
In the camera, I'm like, damn, you do
They
have
just
tiny little
look
feet.
small. And they're Cortez, so the Cortez will automatically make them look a little smaller.
The stool makes them look
And
smaller.
the stool
too.
also doesn't help. It's a
And the
normal,
fact
it's an
that they're
average size. I
small.
wear 7.5. It's an average size.
I didn't think you were like a small person, but like it feels like every day that goes by, I'm like, you get smaller and smaller in the chair, and I don't know why.
It's 'cause maybe I'm wearing less
It's just-
larger pieces of
That could
clothing.
be it. That
In
could
the
be
winter
it.
time,
There's
I come
no-
in with a big old coat.
No thick ass
That's
jacket.
like 3 times the size of what it should be.
She was channeling her grandma energy during that game. I look over and she's sitting here like this,
I was just-
watching the game, and Landry misses a shot. She goes, "Oh, Landry!"
Oh my God, Lindsay is such an old person. I swear.
She also said Kevin Durant was shooting the 3 like Dragan Bender
No,
at
no,
one
no,
point
no,
too.
no. I just called him Kevin Durant.
Kevin
Because
Durant.
that's what he was acting like when it came to threes early on. So I was just talking a little shit to get him to make a 3, and it worked. After I said it, he hit 3. You're welcome.
He did.
I
You're
don't think-
welcome.
by the way, on your foot size, I don't think it helps that I stick my big size 13 foot out like this, and you're on the other end, and
I
there's
mean,
like that
that's
weird
true.
visual
You make it look way
comparison.
smaller.
I mean, my shoes look small in this picture too. So
Yeah, it's just different angles. That's all. No big deal. All right, couple more. The buck stops here says headband power. We did get headband booked tonight,
Mhm.
and it wasn't the worst performance from Devin. He finished with
was-
22 points. He had 10 assists.
Mhm.
That was nice, and 5 rebounds.
Yeah.
I heard a rumor he got a head tattoo. That's
Oh,
why
is
he's
that what
wearing
it is?
Oh, a head tattoo.
Okay, he
I'm
kinda-
lying. Just so you know.
Was I the only one that sort of saw like right here on the top of his nose? It kind of looked like he was a little bruised. But if
A
he
little
had
bit.
gotten hit in the nose, you would think he would have bruising under his eye too.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but it did kind of look like it. So maybe he did accidentally get like a cut or something on his forehead, and he just wanted to like keep it protected. I
It
don't
wasn't
know.
a headband. It was a bandage for his wound. Like what?
I don't know. It was just a rumor that was out there, and I was like, I'll lean into that. Why not?
somebody said grandma energy, and now I can't think of BGE.
Oh man.
Big grandma
Lindsay's got
energy.
that big grandma
Got that
energy.
big grandma energy.
Grandmas are the best. Grandmas are literally goated. So it's fine. I'm down. All right. So speaking of book, Luis also sent us a super chat. They said, love the W. And I hate to be that guy, but Booker had the ball stolen 2 times. You would think he'd learn from the finals, happening too frequently now. They need to clean up the turnovers before playoffs.
Okay, I noticed this, but they were both. It got hit from behind.
Mm.
You know, he had the one time that it got hit from behind and they took off the other way, and the other time it got hit out and went straight to DA. It was like the best case scenario because DA was cutting to the hoop and they knocked the ball out of Book from behind and went straight to DA.
I thought he was going that way anyway, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he needs to take better care of the ball. He had 5 turnovers tonight. He's had a couple of high turnover games recently, but like in particular that third quarter the other night when things fell apart. But like he also had 10 assists tonight. He was pretty good at moving the ball, and he was facing constant double teams for the majority of the night, constantly shifting defenses. I thought he did a pretty good job outside of the turnovers. Those need to come down a little bit, but fortunately, the team took care of the ball as a whole, only 13 as a team. So you can live with that if you're getting this type of production out of him, and especially out of 35, 5, and 5 out of Durant.
Jay says, I had my first grade girlfriend stolen. No big deal. Hashtag we good.
Hold
All
on.
right.
You should clarify. The girlfriend you had when you were in first grade.
Oh,
Oh,
right.
Jesus,
Oh,
Espo.
my
Nobody
We
God.
all
thought
knew
that.
that, Espo.
Nobody
Literally
thought
all of us knew
Day
that.
out here, all
that.
right?
Oh, my God.
Oh my
Jesus,
God.
Espo.
All right, we have a
Unreal.
couple more super chats. James, thank you for your super chat. Said, great win tonight against a feisty team. Not thrilled we assisted the Lakers. Gerald, quote, say my name. Nice shirt.
Well, thank you. The danger over here.
There you go.
Got it.
There you go. Nice shirt,
I'm the
Gerald.
one who knocks.
Thanks, James, for your super chat. Speaking of like assisting or not, did y'all see the end of that Mavs game?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was wild.
Both endings.
I know, right? I just had to throw a little tiny jab in there.
Sorry,
Just a
JaVale.
little
Poor
bit.
JaVale.
I know, poor guy. And the worst part is the Espo, like you called it. You're like, he's gonna miss one of these, if not two of them.
He's shooting 54%
Bless
from
his
the
heart.
line.
Oh,
Math
Joe.
told me it.
I know, but it's still sad. All right, a couple more. RV, thank you for your super chat. Said, let's go Suns. KD rocks. That he
Facts,
does.
yes.
That he does. We're 5 in a row right now, and Espo's burner wants to know, Saul, will you keep your promise and hug Espo if the Suns win 10 straight? Also, in addition to that, wants to know, will you guys bring on the Suns YouTuber Ignorance in Basketball?
If you
I
want a
don't
hug
re-
from him, you should
I
just
don't
ask.
recall.
You
Did
did
I?
say this.
You
10 in a
did.
row?
Yeah,
yes.
you did.
Okay, 10 in a row. You got it.
But
10
hold
in a row.
on. They can't win 10 in a row in the regular season. Does the playoffs count? Do you can't?
That's right,
They'd
because we
have to
only have
win
4
game
left,
one
huh?
of their. Yeah, they'd have to
It
win out
depends on how
game one.
much of an asshole I want to be right now.
I feel
So-
like if they go undefeated the rest of the regular season, you should let it be.
No,
should
that's
let it
not the
be.
deal. You got to win 10 in a row. I don't. Hey, listen, I'll give you the 10 in a row. Doesn't matter if it bleeds over into the playoffs. I'll give you 10 in a row.
Okay.
But we're not stopping at the end of the regular season just to make everybody feel good.
Let's just say it.
Fuck your hugs.
If they win if they win a title,
So honestly, bro, you need a hug and a high five.
Like if
God
anybody needs a
damn.
hug from Espo, it's Saul.
Yeah.
Do you know how many people
You
I hug
need a
all the
hug.
time?
One.
0.
Bruh, no one.
One. Your wife. That's it.
No.
Your kids sometimes.
Hey, no, all the time. Don't even start. Yeah, those are the people I hug all the time.
Yeah, but I feel like sometimes you
When
need
you
a
get
hug
a Saul
from
Bookman
others
hug,
too.
okay,
It's really scary.
it's not, but it's really scary. Yes,
It's like, why are
because
you
it never
doing this?
happens.
What's coming
Yeah,
next?
because it never happens. But you know I care about you. And we just haven't gotten there yet.
Is he?
I've been with Espo. I've hugged Espo before. It's been a while.
It has been a while.
Yeah, it has.
Yeah.
I mean,
I hugged him in
maybe-
Vegas last year.
Maybe
you've hugged me since then.
we
Have
will
I?
see it in the
Yeah.
first round of the playoffs.
I mean,
Who
we did get
knows?
into like a shouting match a couple months ago, and afterwards we hugged
Yeah,
it
we
out.
hugged it out.
There you go.
Because you got to
You
hug
got-
it out.
yeah,
You got to
you
hug it
got
out, bitch. Let's go.
Yeah.
Well, there's your answer.
That's how we know we're cool again.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
hey, yeah, we yell at each other, but bring it
Espo
in.
is the one guy that I've ever come across where he could be absolutely furious and I could be absolutely furious and we could cuss each other out and we go our separate ways for like 5 minutes and then we both come back and we're like, I love you. I love you too. Okay. And then we move on and it's over. It's like, it's the craziest thing. I've never had that with anybody else where you just, the argument's done and we've moved on.
Mostly
pretty
because
dope.
I think when we yell at each other, it has very little to do with each other.
This is very true. This is very true.
Damn, Liz,
This
they're
is very
just
true.
yelling at each other over you and me. That's
all
tough.
the time. I know, right?
Yes, I do just have a log that I put date and time of when Bookman hugs occur. So.
It's like, do you remember this time? Okay, last one from Eli. They said, damn, Saul, look at your shirt.
Yeah.
That's what
the
Eli
Slim
likes your
Reaper.
shirt. This is the Slim Valley Reaper shirt that is available at phnxlocker.com.
Get it.
You should get it. And also, we have a kind of cool deal going on right now. So you can get both the Slim Valley Reaper and the Assassin shirt together, and you'll also get an exclusive sticker pack for free
I did
when
get the
you
sticker
get
pack.
both of those shirts at the same time.
Pretty dope.
Those are all available again at phnxlocker.com. So grab them and be ready for the playoffs. Also, if you become a diehard, you can get one of them for free. You can pick your own shirt, whatever one you want from the locker, and you get that one for free. You also get discounts on the merch, so you can get one for free and then a discount on the second one, or a discount on some sweatshirts. I know everyone's probably like, why would I buy a sweatshirt? Well, if you're like me, you wear sweatshirts year round. This is not a big deal. You also get access to our Discord and Gerald's newsletters that are specific to diehards, which you did mention that earlier today, right? You're putting one of those together?
Yep, there'll be one tomorrow on Chris Paul. Should be fun.
Yeah. So check it out over at gophnx.com if you want to become a diehard. Also, if you are looking to book some fun this spring, check out Octane Raceway and Mavericks. They've got kart racing, virtual reality, laser tag, axe throwing, bowling, arcades, great food and drinks. You can watch the NCAA championship game at Maverick in the trophy room, grill, and patio, and get a free $10 game card when you purchase an entree in the trophy room. Check out octaneraceway.com and mavericks.com to learn more.
Oh my.
That was something.
Wow.
I'm not mad at it. It's just that was interesting. I'm not entirely sure how to feel.
You ever see Tommy Boy?
No, probably not.
Oh my gosh. New guy's over the corner puking his guts out.
Okay, so
I got it.
we said in the pregame show that we would talk about the CBA and kind of all of the information that we have gotten thus far.
Yeah.
I don't know where you guys want to start because there's a lot. Do you want to start with the heavy hitting things like the salary cap, or do you want to start with some of like the more lighthearted things like no more drug testing for marijuana?
Let's start with the lighter.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do that.
The heavier stuff is going to maybe get us depressed. So.
Maybe it might take a few minutes and it'll be a lot too. So some of the easier things is that there's going to be no more testing for marijuana, which like that should have happened a long time ago, but better late than never for these guys.
Yeah.
I don't know. Y'all want to, I'm guessing every one of you is in agreement that that's fine.
Yeah.
We're good here.
Are we sure they've seriously been testing for marijuana?
I don't
I
think
would
they
like
have.
to
over the
think
years?
Probably not since the bubble.
Yeah.
I think further back. I mean, I'm sorry, but Sean Marion always seemed like he had had a few, you know. Like,
I don't know. That was still David.
shit, man. Like that was his answer half the time in an interview.
That was still David Stern's NBA. I don't know.
Yeah.
I have a hard time buying that far back. But yeah, I think for a while now that's been the case. And I'm glad these guys should be able to have that outlet. Yeah.
Listen, I know a lot of people that are not experienced with cannabis. We talk about OGs, and listen, to me, honestly, for me personally, it's changed my life because, coming out of the military, I had a lot of PTSD, a lot of depression, a lot of anxiety. And that has been another way for me to be able to just kind of take the edge off a little bit and relax. The more real sense of who I've kind of wanted to be has kind of come to life because of, being smart, obviously, with weed and stuff like that. And so I can't imagine the pressure that these players sometimes have to go through with the weight of like an entire state on your shoulders when you're going through the playoffs or you're not playing up to speed and you want to get home and you just kind of want to take the edge off a little bit and just kind of take your mind off of things. And that helps, and so I think it's great for the NBA. I think it's great for the players as long as they don't abuse it, which I don't think anybody's going to.
Right.
I think you're good.
I think the biggest thing could be helping fall asleep. Like we've talked about OGs and having like a literal sleepy time edition gummy. Like sometimes when you're traveling on the road and you're getting into cities at 4:00 in the morning and you got to get up early the next day and go do practice or shoot around or whatever it may be, sometimes you do need a little help falling asleep quickly and actually getting a decent amount of rest. So I'm not mad at it. They're adults. Especially if it's in a city or a state that recreational marijuana is legal, then by all means make your own decisions about it.
Yeah.
Come on to Phoenix and be a free agent that signs here. Weed's legal.
Yeah.
But to me too, the other
I
thing
think the entire
is-
Western Conference is legal except for Utah.
Don't tell them that. It's only Phoenix. But it also just with the aches, the pains. This is a lot better than going to hardcore painkillers and those kind of things for NBA players. And then, did you guys ever see Kevin Durant on David Letterman's Netflix show? He did an interview last year, and they talked extensively about weed. And Katie's like, David Letterman asked him something to the extent of, "Well, how often do you smoke?" And he's like, "I'm high right now." So. It obviously isn't hurting Kevin Durant's performance in any way.
So in addition to not testing for it anymore, players are also allowed to invest in cannabis as well as sports books and the W and NBA teams, which this is all really interesting. And obviously there is probably a lot more that will come out around the rules and regulations of all of these things because athletes, sportsbook athletes owning part of the team that maybe they're playing for. Like there's going to be a lot of gray area, and I'm sure regulation around it. But it is interesting.
I love the W part of it, though, because now a lot of these athletes can help grow the women's game, support that. And a lot of them would love, being out there watching the games. I'm sure plenty of them are going to hop in and invest in W teams. And I think we can basically call this the LeBron Las Vegas expansion team rule in this CBA, because not knowing when LeBron's going to retire and knowing that, he hasn't really hit it. There's interest there and him wanting to own part of that franchise. I think that's a big reason why that part happened.
I'm interested to see how, the details of it, the mechanisms they put in place for this sort of thing. But it is interesting, and it is a good thing for the players to be able to get these stakes in particular teams as well. I know there's been a lot of talk over a lot of these CBA things, this screws the players or this screws the players. This is huge for the players, I think, moving forward, and sets a new standard that no other sports league has.
Yeah.
I think it's great because the women's game, I'm sorry, if you haven't watched it, especially the NCAA tournament this year, it was phenomenal. And if you're depriving yourself of watching women's basketball because you're just being obtuse and you just don't like ball if you don't like it. It's great basketball. And the ability for NBA players to be able to invest, honestly, I think is going to cause, it's going to help because it's going to cause expansion, because more players will want to invest in teams. And I think that's great for the league. The WNBA should have more than just, the 12 teams that they have. They should have more than that. And I'm excited for it. I think this is a great thing for the league. The investments in the NBA teams, obviously, as Gerald said, there's some nuance to this that we don't know yet and how this is all going to work out. But I think it's great. And then the betting side of this, again, being able to invest within betting partners, I think it's cool as long as those lines are not blurred somehow, some way. That's my only fear, but we can't cut the hand off before anything's happened.
But I think it's only fair that, and I know you're not saying they shouldn't, but I think it's only fair that players are allowed to invest in these sponsors if the league's allowed to take money from them and everything. The stigma of gambling in sports is no longer there because the leagues are now partnered with all these entities. So athletes should be able to invest and benefit from that as well, in my mind. So if it's good for the league, it's good for the players, is the way it should be.
Well, because without the players, you don't have a league. Without the league, you don't have a sports book.
Yeah.
Sorry. That's just how it goes. Okay, everyone is asking about the in-season tournament.
Yes.
I don't know about this one because this is one that I have not read up on quite yet. Gerald, do you have the details on how this is going to play out?
I think they said it was going to be in December, and it's going to be kind of carving out a couple of regular season games. So the two finalists will end up playing one additional game by the end of the tournament. They'll play 83 games on the season. Everybody else will still be at 82. So I'm not entirely sure how they're going to manufacture that. So it's baked in that way.
But that 83rd game doesn't count in the standings or anything.
Right.
Does it happen in Vegas?
And
I heard it might happen in
Vegas. They're
Vegas,
looking at
right?
Vegas, and it would be, I think, $500K per player for the winning team that wins it all.
Per player?
That's kind of big time.
Per player. That's big time. So that's big time for the middle,
9,
lower
10, 11,
end
12
guys.
guys.
The max guys, maybe not so much. And look, this is kind of, to me, this idea has taken a lot of flack on Twitter. A lot of people saying, "Oh, this is lame. This is stupid. Why the NBA doing this?" A lot of those same people said the same shit about the play-in tournament.
Yep.
And the play-in tournament is now fun as hell because the players give a shit. That's what this is all going to come down to. Do the players give a shit about this tournament? Do they take the competition seriously? Because if they do, it's going to be fun as hell. It's more fun than just a random regular at Magic in December. Nobody gives a shit about that game. If there's a tournament with actual stakes and the players take it seriously and care, then it's going to be a lot of fun. I don't know if that's going to happen, but it always comes down to the players.
What I would love to see, and you guys tell me wrong, is if there was some postseason benefit to winning the midseason tournament, or at least getting to the final of the midseason tournament. So that way, let's just say, for instance,
what would that look like?
How about this? What if whoever wins the midseason tournament or actually, let me just say this: whoever wins each conference's side of the midseason tournament. I don't know if it's going to be conference specific or if it's just going to be wide open.
Yeah.
If it's open, that's even better. So let's just say the top 2 teams that get there from each conference, if it is that way, they automatically, if for whatever reason they fall into that 7 to 10 play-in spot, they automatically get bumped to the 6. So they don't have to play. They get a benefit of waiting that whole week because they made it to the championship game of the play-in tournament, and the 6th spot automatically falls to 7. Everybody else shifts down. I think that's a nice little benefit to winning the midseason tournament. So that way you get
like
close.
A safety net.
A little bit of a safety net, yeah, because you balled out in the earlier part of the season. I think there has to be some type of tangible benefit for the team outside of just the $500,000 for this to really, really mean something. Otherwise, you're still going to have guys that are like, Kawhi's going to be like, I'll just sit this one out.
I mean,
okay.
Maybe it's something to a lesser extent, but and this isn't great just off the top of my head, but priority in the buyout market, like, or something that gives you a benefit in trying to add more or some extra exception. I don't know, but I agree with you. A little extra would be great. But what I'm hoping is they say December, right? What's the NBA's big day? It's Christmas Day. If you can make these midseason tournament games that are supposed to count be part of your Christmas schedule, and all of a sudden it's like
the Christmas tournament.
Here's the tournament
Yeah.
that all of a sudden these games have a little bit more intrigue. You up the TV ratings, you get things interesting, and then during that Christmas week, you play the other subsequent games in a championship game, say maybe on New Year's Day. All of a sudden, you've made that holiday season very interesting for your sport.
Or, in talking about promotion from that 7 to 10 to 6, or maybe you automatically get to shift up 1 seed depending on where the season ends. That's not a bad idea.
What if you get to pick your opponent?
So if we won the midseason tournament this year, we could jump up to that 3 spot, and Sacramento would drop down to 4 because we won the midseason tournament.
I feel like you'd have to be allowed to pick, right?
I feel like
if you want to jump up or not.
Yeah, but I feel like you'd have to be like within a certain number of games to trigger that. Because like the Kings are up by like 5 games on us or something like that. I feel like winning a midseason tournament would be kind of unfair if we just jumped the Kings.
What if you automatically get the tiebreaker?
But the tiebreaker against
seedings?
who?
Yeah,
All of them?
we wouldn't even have that.
If you wind up tied in any of your seeding for the playoffs and you won the tournament, you automatically get the tiebreaker.
Or you get to kick one team out of the tournament. Sorry, Denver. Bye.
Yeah.
You're going to pick your first round opponent regardless.
Or you get to pick,
We'll take
OKC. Thank you.
Hello is hilarious. Mid-season winner gets to punch a fan in the face when they're disrespectful.
Yeah,
I'm on board with that.
Ooh.
I'm on board
That
with
is
that.
aggressive.
Or you're
I ain't mad at it, but it's aggressive.
winner can pick one fight in the rest of the season with no suspensions.
Oh boy.
Everybody be going at Pat Bev.
Yeah.
All 12 Suns.
Yeah.
Pat Bev.
Shoot.
Pat Bev.
You know what, though?
Memorial.
You know what, though? The rest of his teammates would probably just stand around watching or pitch in. You know?
Also, I do want to go back to this point about the Christmas Day, okay? So at every level, high school, college, like Christmas tournaments are a thing. And so I think the fact that the NBA might have accidentally tapped into that, I think is amazing because it brings you back to the originality of the game. Like that's what we grew up doing. You played in high school, you played in Christmas tournaments, you're in college, you're playing in these Las Vegas tournaments or whatever. That's like the beginning of the season. And so the fact that the NBA would do this and follow suit, I think is phenomenal. I like it. I'm not going to shit on this idea because I want to see it play out and see what happens. Again, to your point, the play-in, a lot of people were like, oh, the play-in sucks. I've loved the play-in from day one because it's been very, very intriguing basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Hello might actually be on to something. This one, mid-season winner doesn't play back-to-backs.
Yeah, it'd be hard to do that.
I would take that one in a heartbeat, though, if I could. I hate back-to-backs.
And honestly, even if they don't come up with some like fun incentive for this team, what it is what we put value in. Like if you think about it, the tournament at the end, obviously it's the end of the regular season, it's the championship, but we put value in that because it's the very end. It determines the winner. If you put value in a midseason tournament, it'll be more valuable. That's just the way it is. So if the players give a shit, we will give a shit too.
You know, what it should be, since you have to play an 83rd game, is the two teams that meet in that can choose to take one game off the rest of the year and get the automatic win. So then they play 82.
That'd be fun.
I actually really like that one a lot, to be honest. That one's not
I
bad.
really don't want to play Orlando on that Tuesday. We're calling it in. We're taking the victory.
Here's the card.
Thank you. Come again. All I know is that if these tournaments or the championship game of that tournament ends up happening in Vegas and we're in it, we're going to travel very well because the proximity is just right there. And we already know where to pick up all of our snacks for the road trip and get gas and all the things you'll need. And that, of course, is Circle K, because Circle K is on almost every single corner here in Arizona. They're always stocked with the best stuff. They've got the greatest deals on gas. They've got great deals on iced coffee. They've got great deals on beer. They've got great deals on energy drinks. Literally anything and everything you need for a solid road trip, you will find at Circle K. So make sure you're not missing out. Head to circlek.com/store-locator to find Circle K's near you.
Well, at Circle K, they have this thing called Four Peaks, and Four Peaks is amazing. They have the best beer in the state. It's not even close, and you can't really argue about that. That's just what I'm going to tell you. The cool thing about that is at Four Peaks right now, going on at the moment, they have this rainbow-infused hazy IPS.
What?
IPS. I don't know what an IPS is.
It's one letter away from something you don't want. So I hope this is something good.
So it's brewed with kiwi, guava, cherries, strawberries, pineapples, and peaches, and coming in at a whopping 6.5% ABV. This beer was brewed for and with Arizona's LGBTQ community. Proceeds from this beer go to a bunch of different organizations, One Community, 1 in 10, Southwest Center, and Phoenix Pride. It's pretty dope. You can only get it at the pub, so you should go on over there, get yourself a little growler, and enjoy. But they came out with a different green tea IPA, which was my favorite beer now. It's my favorite beer. I had a nice little tall one. It was phenomenal. You got to go check it out. Four Peaks. They have all different types of stuff. Plus, we're doing our NFL draft party over there. Check that out. It's going to be on April 27th. Johnny, Bo, the whole crew will be out there. We'll all be out there hanging out, watching the Cardinals draft. Hopefully they get a lot of picks because they're going to trade down and still maybe get Will Anderson. Who knows? We'll see. But it's going to be fun. So check out Four Peaks at any convenience store, any grocery store, really, especially Circle K. And remember, you must be 21 and over and enjoy responsibly.
Carlos said, "Thank you, Circle K, for the $500 gift card." Carlos, was Carlos our winner?
Carlos was our winner.
Carlos,
Nice.
Awesome. Congrats, Carlos.
Carlos and his wife came into the studio.
How fantastic!
Got his card. Got to take a tour of the facilities and stuff. And he was so nice. His wife was terrific. Yeah. So shout out to Carlos. He's a real one.
Okay, a couple more things around the CBA. Let's just dive into this one, the salary cap. It's a heavy one. Let's talk about it. Gerald, you're the numbers guy.
Yeah, so I think the number was 17.5 million above the luxury tax line is where that second luxury tax apron is going to be. And once you get past that point, it triggers a number of things. Apparently, you're not going to have a mid-level exception anymore. You're not going to be able to send cash in trades. You're not going to be able to trade first-round picks that are 7 years out anymore. So basically, a lot of the things that happened with the Kevin Durant trade would no longer be legal under this new rule. I understand what they're going for, but this to me feels like the other owners realize they're in the majority. They looked at the 5 or 6 owners that are willing to spend a lot of money to field contenders out there, like us, Golden State, the Clippers, Boston team, Dallas, even teams that want to put money down to win a championship and have every right to do so if they're willing to pay those luxury tax payments and fines. And they said, we don't want to spend for our teams. We're in smaller markets. And so we're just going to gang up on these teams that want to spend and make it harder for them to field a competitive roster with some of these triggers once you get to that second luxury tax apron. Personally, I think it's bullshit. I need to see more details on how all of these things work specifically. But that's going to make it really hard for the Suns moving forward to field a competitive roster, because you look at how many guys they have on the books for next season, it's only like 6 or 7. and they're already up against the salary cap, already up against the luxury tax, and they're still going to need to devote money to their veteran minimum signings, to guys to round out the rest of the roster. And this is going to make it a lot more difficult if they can't have access to the mid-level and things of that nature. So it's really bad timing when we finally get a fucking owner who wants to come in here and spend money to make our team competitive. And it's like, nah.
Right? I love it when you talk nerdy to me. All right.
So one of the things that again, we got to find out the nuance of all this, right? Mm-hmm. There are ways to be able to pay guys, and I'm wondering if this is, again, when we're talking about investment, are these investments going to count against the salary cap? You know what I'm saying? So could you pay a guy $5-10 million worth of investment, whatever the case may be, and that not count against the cap? You're going to find ways to circumvent shit. I'm promising you that. If you give these NBA teams a way to circumvent it, they will. They will find a way. So I wonder about that little particular part. But again, I do agree with you. For the problem is it's a catch-22, right? You have 5 or 6 teams that are willing to spend and go crazy. We've seen in baseball, the same thing is happening in baseball, and you basically you're going to always have a constant separation of the haves and the have-nots, because some teams just will not do it. They will not spend $1 billion on payroll to be the most competitive baseball team in the world. Same thing in the NBA. You will have teams that would just refuse to do it, and there should be a floor, in my opinion, for every NBA team, and then. You know, the cap is the cap. I don't even know what to think about that. But the floor, to me, is the way you can kind of combat that a little bit, because a lot of teams are just willing to just tank and never be competitive, and they're spending
and they're making money
salaries.
Because of the way that the revenue is shared amongst all 30 franchises.
And that's not fair either.
And that's not fair to that fan base either. So I don't know. There's a little bit of both here. But I'm just mostly pissed because now we have Deep Pockets owner, and y'all want to just be like, you can't play that game anymore.
Yeah,
and
but
I'm like,
there's
really?
one reason this happened. They wanted a hard salary cap, and the players said no, right? They wanted a cap you can't spend above this. So this was the way they got around it, by saying, okay, we're not going to cap it, but we're going to make it really difficult to do anything beyond a certain point. Mm-hmm. And it's about competitive balance. They want the whole league to have a chance, but and in years past I might be like, this is great, but yeah, now it feels like we're screwed because they changed the rules just when we started playing by the game that everybody else was.
Well, and that's the thing that bothers me, I think, is that if you're pushing for a hard cap to try to limit that outlandish spending, like I don't understand it, because it's only 5 or 6 teams that fit these qualifications heading into this offseason. Like, if it was the whole league, I would have a concern, like, okay, maybe we're heading towards baseball, where the major markets that have more money to pump in are just going to dominate the league, and that's no fun. But that's not the case. Like, we're talking about Phoenix in that mix. We're talking about Dallas. We're talking about, like, markets that are big, obviously, but not like the New Yorks or the LAs or that type of shit.
But
so
this is all about Golden State. I mean, they were what?
Yeah.
400 million into the tax.
They were.
Okay.
Like,
but it shouldn't. But if you're gonna do that, why only 17.5 million? Like, you can make that line higher to where the outliers actually are. I feel like 17.5 above the luxury tax is not
very
far
much.
enough up. Yeah, it's not. It's barely anything.
And Gerald made a really good point when we were talking about this earlier today. He had said the dynasties in the NBA, they're good for the league as a whole. Mm-hmm. And I feel like dynasties like Golden State and like even LA, things like that, that's good for the NBA globally. Mm-hmm. They've been putting so much effort into growing the game around the entire world. It's really hard for a fan, and I know we have a lot of fans who live in other parts of the world, but it is probably very difficult to have an allegiance to like the Suns when you live in a part of the world where you don't have access to the Suns in that way, where you can really fall in love with them in that way. But you can totally fall in love with the Golden State Warriors and the Lakers when they're winning championships all the time, mm-hmm. like the Bulls back in the day. Mm-hmm. And like, that's good for the league as a whole. It's good for the game of basketball as a whole.
I think their argument would be super teams haven't been good for the league, because it does create more of an incentive to tank for the Wembys, and it does create a chasm in a lot of ways. And they built the play in to try to counteract that, because in most years where OKC's sitting now, they would have just pulled the plug. Everybody'd be sitting. They'd be trying to lose out, right? Because there's no shot at the playoffs.
But it's also good for their ratings. Like the Warriors' run was some of the best ratings they've seen in recent years, and obviously there are outliers. Like the Suns and Bucks finals was a really high-rated finals because it was two teams that hadn't been there in a long time with very energetic and passionate fan bases. It's strange to me that, you know, the response would be to try and shut down some of those dynastic teams, because nobody looks back at Michael Jordan's run in the 90s and looks at it like, man, I was sick of those Bulls. I wanted them to lose so bad. Like,
Not
sure,
true.
fans do that, but it was good for the NBA. Like when you think of the 90s and their ratings, they were off the charts.
It was good for the league office, but you would argue in this case, the Indianas of the world, the Orlandos of the world, the smaller markets, is it good for them to have Golden State and these teams being able to do this? Or is it better for them to have more talent on the market with less people that are willing to spend huge money, so then they have a shot at keeping their own guys or bringing in some of these guys that now are going to be in the free agent market where they may not have been?
It's a mixed question, though, because I feel like a lot of that comes down to ownership. What are you willing to do to bring talent to your market? Like, if you're a rich guy who's also a broke boy, sell your fucking team. Like, get it, do something else. Put your money somewhere else and give it to someone who's going to be willing to spend fucking money on being competitive and winning titles.
Also, a lot of it also comes down to how well are you drafting, too. Look at how many times we had so many decent picks in the draft, and we didn't look at the Sacramento Kings and how they've navigated the draft over the last decade.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, are you going to blame the Golden States and the Lakers because you whiffed in the draft 8 years in a row?
Yes, because they've taken all the good scouts
I'm just
too.
saying,
It's all just
like,
But this doesn't go into effect
there's
until
a lot of
next season.
No,
or
this
next
upcoming
year
season.
league. So this free agency period, it's in effect.
See, that's the thing that I think is the most effed up about this is that you have structured and you've angled yourself thinking that the dynamics were going to be one way, and now you're going to have to shift big time to try and go a different way. So when James Jones is like, fuck them picks, well, guess what picks give you? Cheaper salaries and at a lower starting point. So you would be able to take advantage of maybe some of that stuff, but instead thinking about all that, trading all your picks away for Kevin Durant, now you kind of put yourself in a little bit of a hole unknowingly, and now the rules have changed and you got to figure it all out. But they will.
I'd argue under these rules, you may not have made that KD trade.
No, you wouldn't have.
No, you wouldn't have.
For a multitude
No,
and you wouldn't have made the Terrence Ross signing because if you get to that second tax apron, guess what? You can't sign players on the buyout market either. So would have doubly screwed the Suns here.
Yeah.
This one will be the most interesting on how it kind of changes the shape and out.
You think Gerald was sick of Trade Machine Tuesday? Yeah, just wait till we talk about fucking tax bracket fucking Wednesday.
Imagine when you can't make trades and take on more money than you're sending out. Then now Trade Machine Tuesday is going to be a lot more limited.
Now we really will have to look at the math.
Can we interest you in DeAndre Ayton for some guy that's making $8 million? Anybody? No? All right, then. Nerd alert! I love it.
Okay, then the last thing that we'll talk about for now, 65-game minimum for awards, and awards are now positionless. How you all feeling about these two things?
I love it. I know some people on this panel will not like it, the 65 games at least. I love it. And the reason why is because I think 17 games, listen, you get injured and you miss a month, it's not the same as everybody. Like, I'm sorry. Like, and Devin pulled his groin, and he would be the one, obviously, that stands out the most for us. He missed a significant amount of time, and he's back. He's playing at a high level. Should he be all NBA? Yes, he should. But I think in the normal years, and you're not really, listen, Devin falls into a casualty of the rule, but the rule is really designed to stop, load management. That's what it's.
Though.
That's the thing. People,
it may or may not. I don't know.
I kept getting this response when I tweeted out that I thought 65 is too high. That's almost 80% of the season, and you look around the league, these are the guys that would be ineligible for All-NBA this year if it was 65. Damian Lillard, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, LeBron James, Devin Booker, John Morant, Anthony Davis, Zion. Like, these are some of the best players in the league this season. And I get that you want to curb load management, but guess what? Like, load management, the majority of the time, is a team and training staff decision. It's not like guys are telling their coaches, you know what, I'm just not feeling it tonight. I'm going to sit this one out. I feel like that's the misperception that people have about load management, is like these guys are coming to their teams and saying, I'm kind of banged up. I don't really feel like playing tonight. Like, that's not what it is. And I understand that load management, if you look at the injuries, it doesn't feel like it's working. But I'm going to trust the science on this one over people that just have a problem with players not playing in games because they're hurt. I feel like 55, 60, that range I would have been perfectly fine with. 65 is too high.
You think a guy like Kawhi gives a shit if he's available to win the MVP or not? No. It's not going to stop certain guys, because they're just not going to care all that much about it. And so I don't think that's going to work the way they intended it. Now, all NBA positionless, I love that. Because right now we got two guys that are vying for MVP that are both centers. And you can't tell me that one should be on first team All NBA and one should be on second team All NBA. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
I hear what you guys are saying about load management. I do. I think it's those are valid points. But, you know, again, you're talking about, okay, let's drop it to 60. Well, that's a quarter of the season. Like, that's a lot of games too. That's 22 games.
They play too many games. They play 82 games.
That's a different discussion, though.
But that's what I'm saying. They're never going to lower that. So I think we need to lower our expectations for these guys to be like the dudes in the 90s who were John Stockton and Karl Malone and played every fucking game every night. Like, that's just not where we're at anymore.
Why do we have to?
Because these guys are so much more athletic than those guys were. Every cut that they make, every jump that they take is putting different exertion on their body. Like, it's just there's levels to this.
Well, not only that, but okay, you talked about with the in-season tournament, it goes as far as we go with it and the players, right? If they care about it, we're going to care about it. What happens when all of these guys are no longer eligible for these awards? We're all going to stop caring about them.
Yeah.
Because none of the players we want to get them are going to get them anymore. Well, and then we're going to be like, well, what the hell is the point of this even then?
Your 24, 25 MVP, Landry Shamet.
We're already there with the All-Star game. The All-Star game is an absolute joke because you know why? They are voting guys in there that have missed half the fucking season half the time, and nobody gives a shit about it. The guys that really want to be there, the guys that have been busting their ass and played all 41 or 55, 56 games now, it seems like, to get into the All-Star game, and the fans are voting, you know, for their favorite players, obviously. I mean, that's not fair either, but, like, the All-Star game is literally a joke because nobody gives a shit in that game, and half the dudes that are playing in that game have missed half the season anyway. Like, I'm not on board with that either. So there has to be some happy. They had to come up to a threshold, and to what I think Gerald's really pointing at is not necessarily like the fact that guys will miss out on all NBA awards. It's because he wants it at a lower rate, so like 60 or 55 games instead of 65. To me, I'm like, I don't know. I'm always coming from the fans' perspective. If I paid a lot of money to come watch a player play and he's fucking sitting out, even though he's quote unquote been healthy or he doesn't want to play on the back end of a back-to-back, I'm like, well, fuck, man. Why do I have to pay the price because you don't want to play and you're healthy?
Yeah, but you're going to tell me that like a guy like Devin Booker or Steph Curry, who I don't think either one of them really do that often.
No.
Don't deserve to get awards this year because of what they missed?
They're the exception, not the rule.
I don't think they're the exception.
I think they are.
I feel like one report came out about Kawhi Leonard and Paul George being a lot more selective about wanting to take nights off. And that's two players, and everybody took that and ran with it and assumed that these superstars like don't want to fucking play and will take nights off when they can. That's not the case. Like, these teams are trying to protect their investments. They're trying to prepare for the playoffs because they play too many fucking games. 82 is too many.
But 82 is not too many.
It is too many. It's been too many. That's what the science tells us. That's why so many of these guys get injured, because we have back-to-backs, because we have 3 games in 4 nights and bullshit like that we shouldn't have anymore.
We hate back-to-backs.
but they're never going to reduce the number of games. So this is what they circumvent to get around that.
So the argument shouldn't be reducing the games. It should be spreading the games out, like not having back. They have plenty of time in the schedule to not have back-to-backs. But the NBA, for whatever reason, continues to do that. Like the Suns are going to play, 3 games in 4 nights. They're going to have a back-to-back to end of the season. Like that's the bullshit part to me, is like you should be spreading this out instead of making teams do back-to-backs because of travel reasons or arena, usage and all this other stuff. That's what I think, because these guys ball year round. They take like 1 or 2 weeks off, maybe 3 in the offseason, and they're right back to training, playing, going hard. Like,
there's a difference though. There's a difference between summer run and NBA 48-minute basketball. Like,
summer run is way more physical sometimes.
Physical,
and
but
then
not
you also
physically
remove
taxing.
the
It's
travel and all the things that come along with the season as well.
Right.
They're different.
I think we're missing something here that could be problematic, though. First team All NBA and All NBA actually plays a part in what a guy can get paid, right?
Yes.
So now you're making it where a team
change.
can be like, hey, you're sitting out, and now you don't qualify for that. Now I don't have to pay you as much.
Yeah, that's
Right.
not a good look for the team, though. Because that shit'll get
You
around.
don't think that shit's gonna happen?
That
though?
shit'll get around, and that team will not be
No,
getting
I think they're
some
gonna
free agents very much.
They're gonna stop putting those type of things in contracts, and agents are gonna say, "Well, this is irrelevant nowadays. I want to actually get paid more money. This escalator is not what we're accepting
That's
anymore."
exactly what will happen.
It's gonna end up coming back on the ownership. They're gonna have to pay more, and then they're gonna have to navigate that salary cap even more. It's just gonna become irrelevant. If it gets to the point where if the players decide, F it, I don't care, I'm not going to harm myself to try and reach the threshold to get these awards, and they stop caring about it, it's going to become irrelevant. And it'll only take a few years for it to completely die, and that's the unfortunate part.
We're not even talking about my favorite part of this CBA, though.
What?
The restricted free agency. Now they have, instead of 48 hours, 24 hours, and I don't think they went far enough. I think they should have went to 24 minutes. How entertaining would it be if you had 24 minutes to decide if you're matching the contract? That's good television right there.
I mean,
The Suns
really
Suns
fast
did it in
math.
like
Do we have a
5
live
minutes.
look
Yeah, are we
into this?
I think we
televising
should.
this?
I think we should. The second
The Suns are on
Yeah,
the clock.
the Suns are
You gonna
just
match
like a
the air or
draft.
not?
You're
Oh
on the clock.
God.
You got a picture of the war room. I mean,
That's really fast math,
But-
Espo.
but honestly, you look at it. The Suns did it in what, like an hour, if that, in the matching. You know if you're going to match a guy or not. Why are you taking a full day other than to screw the team that signed him to the offer sheet? I like that they shortened that too. Less BS in the offseason that you got to sit around on. Teams, I think you brought this up, Gerald, when we were talking about it. Teams are going to be more likely to take a chance on signing a guy to a sheet because it's not going to tie you up for two days and hurt your chances at other free agents. I like this a lot.
Yeah.
So we do have a super chat. Let me find it here real quick.
Chris Cummings.
This one, go ahead.
Will Booker ever make first team All-Star ever?
First team
Maybe
like
both.
starting
First team
for-
All NBA or an All-Star starter.
Yes.
Maybe both.
Next year.
You think
Book
both?
Will be at least an all-star starter next year because there's going to be all sorts of freaking eyes on this Suns team next year with him and KD. I think they're going to get a lot more national games. People are going to be watching Book. I think the fans are going to go to vote for KD and vote Book too. I think he gets in there next year.
I hope I'm wrong on this. I don't think he'll be an all-star starter. I think there are just too many major market stars that are bigger names that are like, we've seen what the votes are for all-star starting, and he is just way off from where he needs to be. He needs like an endorsement from a K-pop star or someone like that.
We
but-
thought Kendall would put him over the edge, and that didn't work.
That is
So-
close.
Well, she only tweeted once. We need more.
She
Still,
did not
though,
support her man. All right.
still, though.
Well, I guarantee he told her not to send stuff out.
But think
Well,
about it.
should've done it
KD
anyway.
has been the leading vote getter before in
that's
All-Star.
KD's going to get him.
Yes, but now KD fans are going to be watching Book too. Right?
That is true. That might help.
And yeah,
That'll help.
he may get tandem votes with KD. I can't believe we're debating this in April.
I'm sorry. I'm not going to say that he's going to get more votes than John Morant, Steph Curry. Like like I said, I'd be happy to be wrong on that. And then for the All NBA, yeah, if he stays healthy, I feel like he would have had a good case this season for first team. He made it last year. So I think he has a good chance.
He still does have a good case for it this year.
For first team All NBA?
He's been playing some outrageous basketball.
He has been playing fantastic, but like he's starting next year 65 games, so he would have been ineligible this year if those things were in place. Thankfully, they're not. I think he's missed too much time maybe this year, but we'll see.
I think second or third is more likely, but if you look at what he's done since he's come back from the injury, it's otherworldly. And you look at the record with him and without him this year, and it makes the argument of just how valuable he is.
Okay, well, we are coming up on 75 minutes in this post-game show, so I think it is time to say goodbye. We appreciate you all for hanging with us for so long and always joining in on the conversation in the chat. We will not have a show for you tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be an off day for us, but we will be back on Tuesday, so plan to hang out with us then. Until we see you on Tuesday, you can follow the show on Twitter at PHNX_Suns. You can follow me at Lindsay Smith AZ. You can follow Saul at Saul_Bookman. You can follow Gerald at Gerald Bourget. And of course, you can follow Espo at Espo. Espo, take us home.
Hey, 82 games is too many. So let's add an 83rd for two teams. Ahoy,
Phoenix Metro, Megas in control and he ain't never gonna let go. PHNX though, Lindsay, Gerald, Espo. Saw past the ball, we here to turn up the tempo. Got to understand me, I'll always rep the family.